So here we are with part two of my beautiful reading of the terrible fake book Fire and Fury. We're doing this basically to discredit the book, okay? It's a piece of trash, obviously, as the beautiful, smart Stephen Miller said, but also to prove that despite all the fake news, I am one of the best readers, maybe ever, in the history of, reading. I am a good reader. I read good. That's what they say. That's what the non-fake news says. So I'm reading excerpts. The P is not silent. That's one of the things they'll tell you when you go to fancy schools like me from this book to prove that it's trash and that I can read good. So, excuse me, I just burped. I just had my third Big Mac of the day. Delicious. So here we are. This is the inauguration part of the book, okay, with a lot of lies. We're just going to come right into the middle of this thing because, a lot of it's trash. Later that evening, a concert at the Lincoln Memorial, one of our great presidents, arguably number two after me. You can make the argument that he's number two. Part of an always awkward effort to import pop culture to Washington, ended up, absent any star power, with Trump himself taking the stage as the featured act, angrily insisting to aides that he could outdraw any star. But that's true. I am the biggest star. I'm the Big Dipper, okay? Is that a star? The Big Dipper is a big, beautiful star, okay? Dissuaded by his staff from staying at the Trump International Hotel in Washington, beautiful property, and regretting his decision, the president-elect woke up on inaugural morning complaining about the accommodations at Blair House, the official guest residence across the street from the White House. Too hot, bad water pressure, bad bed. His temper did not improve. Throughout the morning, he was visibly fighting with his wife, who seemed on the verge of tears and would return to New York the next day. Almost every word he addressed to her was sharp and peremptory. Another fake word. Kellyanne Conway had taken up Melania Trump as a personal PR mission, promoting the new First Lady as a vital pillar of support for the president. Hey, that's me. And a helpful voice in her own right, and was trying to convince Trump that she could have an important role in the White House. But in general, the Trump's relationships was one of those things nobody asked too many questions about. Another mysterious variable in the presidential mood. At the ceremonial meeting of the soon-to-be new president and the soon-to-be old president at the White House, which took place just before they set off for the swearing-in ceremony, Trump believed the Obamas acted disdainfully, very arrogant toward him and Melania. Well, it's true, okay? To be honest, he's, a Chicago. And when you have two beautiful white people in your house, you should be acting very respectfully. Everybody knows that. But now he's not the president. Now he's an ex-president. I'm the president, and he's a loser because his failed Hillary friend lost historically. Unbelievable. Instead of wearing, back to the book, fake book, Fire and Fury, please. Instead of wearing a game face going into the inaugural events, the president-elect, once again, I'm the president. Don't know why they're calling me the president-elect. Fake news. Fake book, Fire and Fury, more like falsehoods and fakeness. Where am I? Keep losing my place. Great reader, by the way. Great reader. The president-elect wore what some around him had taken to calling his golf face. Angry and pissed off, shoulders hunched, arms swinging, brow furrowed, lips pursed. This had become the public Trump. Truculent Trump. That's not a bad nickname. What does truculent obviously probably means something great, I'm guessing, although this author, who knows. But truculent Trump actually works. That's a kind of name I would give maybe myself. An inauguration is supposed to be a love-in. The media gets a new and upbeat story. For the party, faithful, happy times are here again. For the permanent government, the swamp, his words, not mine, it's a chance to curry favor and seek new advantage. For the country, it's a coronation, but Bannon, Sloppy Steve, had three messages or themes he kept trying to reinforce with his boss. His presidency was going to be different, as different as any since Andrew Jackson's. He was supplying the less than well-read president-elect with Jackson-related books and quotes. Not, I'm very well-read, okay? Very well-read, okay? Well-read, believe me. They knew who their enemies were and shouldn't fall into the trap of trying to make them their friends, because they wouldn't be. And so from day one, they should consider themselves on a war footing. Speaking of which, I would love to get into a war. While this spoke to Trump's combative counterpuncher side, it was hard on his eager-to-be-liked side. Bannon saw himself as managing these two impulses, emphasizing the former and explaining to his boss why having enemies here created friends somewhere else. In fact, Trump's aggrieved mood became a perfect match for the Bannon-written aggrieved inaugural address. Much of the 16-minute speech was part of Bannon's daily joie de guerre patter, another fake term. They're telling me it's joie de guerre. We're reading in English. I don't do book readings for the French, okay? The very weak French with Macaroon, their president Macaroon, please. He doesn't get a book. He doesn't get a book, and he doesn't get an audio book in his fake language. Where am I? His take back the country, America first, carnage everywhere vision for the country. But it actually became darker and more forceful when filtered through Trump's disappointment and delivered with his golf face. The administration purposely began on a tone of menace, a Bannon-driven message to the other side of the country that the country was about to undergo profound change. Trump's wounded feelings. Who says I'm wounded? That makes me sound like I'm a Native American, like wounded feelings. It's not I'm not a Native American, okay? I'm an American, the best kind, white. His sense of being shunned and unloved on the very day he became president. We had huge crowds. What are they talking about unloved? Felt so much love. So much love, it was unbelievable. I even forced my love upon Melania that night when I became president. That's how much love there was. Helped send that message. When he came off the podium after delivering his address, he kept repeating, "Nobody will forget this speech." George W. Bush on the dais supplied what seemed likely to become, and then it cuts off, but he said something like, "That shit was weird." Well, he's a failed president, okay? The next excerpt from this trash book that I've been given is on Jared and Ivanka. So we're going sort of chapter by chapter, but, I don't want to give the guy credit for what the chapter names are. So these are just excerpts taken from the book chronologically. Big word. I use the best ones. This is a section on Jared and Ivanka, my beautiful, shapely, very attractive, very enticing daughter Ivanka. Almost everybody advised Jared not to take the inside job. As a family member, he would command extraordinary influence from a position that no one could challenge. Well, I could challenge it, to be honest. As an insider, a staffer, not only could his experience be you had a title, that is, other than son-in-law, people would surely want to take it from you. Both Jared and Ivanka listened to this advice. From among others, it came from Jared's brother, Josh. Really don't care for him too much. Doubly making the case not only to protect his brother, but also because of his antipathy. Antipathy? What is antipathy? Okay, I'm a big fan of pathy. Okay, so this author obviously is talking about antipathy. I'm coming out in favor of pathy to Trump. But both, balancing risk against reward, ignored it. Trump himself variously encouraged his son-in-law and his daughter in their new ambitions, and as their excitement mounted, tried to express his skepticism while at the same time telling others that he was helpless to stop them. For Jared and Ivanka, as really for everybody else in the new administration, quite including the president, this was a random and crazy turn of history, such that how could you not seize it? It was a joint decision by the couple, and in some case, a joint job. Jared and Ivanka had made an earnest deal between themselves. If sometime in the future the time came, she'd be the one to run for president, or the first one of them to take the shot. The first woman president Ivanka entertained would not be Hillary Clinton. It would be Ivanka Trump. Bannon, who had coined the Jarvanka conflation, that's pretty good actually. Okay, I'll give Sloppy Steve his due. Jarvanka is pretty funny. Who had coined the Jarvanka conflation, now in ever greater use, was horrified when the couple's deal was reported to him. They didn't say that. Stop. Oh, come on. They didn't actually say that. Please don't tell me that. Oh, my God. Part of Jared and Ivanka's calculation about the relative power and influence of a formal job in the West Wing versus an outside advisory role was the knowledge that influencing Trump, that's me, required you to be all in, from phone call to phone call, and his day beyond organized meetings was almost entirely phone calls. You could lose him. You can lose me. I'm such a big, beautiful presence. How can you lose me? It's stupid. Fake, once again. Fakeness and Falsehoods, the book by this Wolff man. The subtleties here were immense because while he was often most influenced by the last person he spoke to, he did not actually listen to anyone. Why would I listen to anybody? I know everything. Believe me, I know more than everybody knows about anything. So it was not so much the force of an individual argument or petition that moved him, but rather more just someone's presence, the connection of what was going through his mind, and although he was a person of many obsessions, much of what was on his mind had no fixed view to whomever he was with and their views. This is bad writing, by the way, believe me. I could rewrite this book so much better in a beautiful, beautiful way. Jared's father, Charlie, bore an eerie resemblance to Donald's father, Fred. Oh, Grandpa Fred. I mean, well, he's not my grandpa, he's my pa. He's my father. Fred. Good guy. Only attended Klan meetings sporadically. Both men used their money and power to dominate and subdue their children, and they did this so completely that their children, despite their demands, became devoted to them. Well, why wouldn't I be devoted to my father? He's my father. Come on. You know, this is what the problem is. Not enough family values now. My father attends a Klan meeting and I'm not supposed to still respect him and like him. In both instances, this was extreme stuff. Belligerent, uncompromising, ruthless, amoral. Isn't that song, When the Moon Hits Your Eye Like a Big Pizza Pie? That's amoral. Anyway, another fake word. Amoral, whatever that means. Amoral men creating long-suffering offspring who were driven to achieve their father's approval. Trump's older brother, Freddie, failing in this effort, and by many reports, gay, drank himself to death. He died in 1981 at age 43. My brother was not gay. Believe me, I would have known. Okay? And even if he was, I'm a big fan, a big supporter of the LGBTQ. Well, T's can't really go to the military, but other than that, love the T's. And the Q's. Who knew we had Q's? Qbert? Is that for Qbert? Remember that video game guy? Great guy. Would love to work with him. LGBTQ, love them. My brother was not an LGBTQ, okay? Not that is just another fake fire and fury falsehood. Believe me. In business meetings, observers would be nonplussed that Charlie and Jared Kushner invariably greeted each other with a kiss. That was kind of gross, to be honest. And that the adult Jared called his father Daddy. To be honest, I'm sure he puts in some true things. That disturbs me, okay? A grown man calling his father Daddy. I don't know. It's probably fake, but if that part of the book is real, I'm going to have to talk to Jared because that's gross. So that's it for part 2 of the Donald J. Trump brilliantly reads fake book to the American people. Tune in for part 3.